Even though you don't know it yet, you've got $37,412 in your pocket right now. Just sitting there, just waiting for you to take it out. That's money you could make tonight, just by taking a few really simple steps. Actually, that's nothing. If you actually watch this video and do what I say, you're going to get access to something bigger than Yahoo, bigger than Facebook, bigger than Google. Because even though this is going to sound really weird at first, all the real money being made online today isn't online at all. It's in a massive market that's bigger than the internet, where anyone, even you, yes, you can make hundreds, even thousands per day just by being in the right place in the right time and having the guts to get in on something that could make you rich. And we're talking about without very much actual effort at all. First of all, let me just make it really clear that this has absolutely nothing to do with PPC, article marketing, Facebook ads, creating products, doing launches, SEO, blogging, domaining, CPA. And even though you've been late and have completely missed out on every big way to make money online, for once, you can be early and be one of the smart select few to get in the money position. How do I know? Let me just show you the amazing results this simple automatic system has done for me and my family. As you can see here, just one of my campaigns generated a healthy $21,765 in pure profit in just 1 month. And this is just the tip of the iceberg. You can see here, one of the paychecks for just 1 week totaled up to an astounding $94,047. My name is Frank Lucas, and even though I've got everything I ever wanted now, just 2 years ago, I was one very desperate man. Why? Because even though I should have known better, I fell hook, line, and sinker for the guru trap. See, just like you, I never cared about getting rich. All I cared about was having a better life for me and my family. I was sick and tired of cramming myself into my beat-up car every morning, fighting my way through traffic, being treated like a kindergartner at a job I despised, and putting on this fake smile for my a-hole boss who kept asking me if it would be okay if he asked me to stay a couple hours late tonight every freaking night of the week. And every night when I got home, I sat down on my computer, logged into my ClickBank account, and felt this awful tightness in my chest. I'd spent over $4,523 on ebooks, courses, and coaching from the scammy gurus. I'd fallen like an idiot for all these push-button software scams put up by lying thieves who just wanted to steal my money. And just look at the results, all the time and all that money got from me. It felt pathetic, just like I couldn't catch a break or make anything work, no matter how hard I tried. I felt used and abused by the gurus and decided something had to change. One night, after fighting with my wife over all the money I'd wasted by pouring into the gurus' pockets, I went downstairs to my office. I looked at all the affiliate marketing books on my hard drive, all the video training courses, all the thousands of dollars of crap I'd bought over the years, and I got rid of it all. I deleted all the ebooks, I threw away the $2,000 training course, I gave up on following these scammy gurus who only knew how to make money by convincing me they could teach me how to make money. As soon as I hit the delete key, I felt this incredible relief, like I'd just been set free. I didn't give up on my dream. I didn't stop thinking about what it would be like to finally have the money and freedom I'd wanted for so long. But right then and right there, I decided to stop being a victim and a follower. Right there and then, I got my head out of my ass and decided for once I was going to win. And you can see here, what happened next could only be described as amazing. And it would wind up leading me into a life most people could only dream of, a new life where anything was possible. Now, after searching endlessly for something I could do to make money that would actually work, I started rapidly losing hope. A short time later, though, I was invited out to San Diego for an old friend's bachelor party. I had no idea what I was in for during this 3-day weekend that wound up changing my life forever. When I got to the $9 million mansion we were staying in for the weekend, I was floored. I'd never seen such an amazing house, and it was right on the water. See the pics below. We partied for a bit, had some drinks, and I went to sleep. Next morning, I woke up to a 140-foot yacht docked right outside the house. I mean, this thing was incredible. It even had a private helicopter on it. As it turned out, the guy who set up the whole thing was this multi-millionaire friend of the groom. He'd rented the yacht for the day to take us around the bay. And when I heard this, I immediately knew I had to talk to this guy. I had to find out what he was doing to make all that money. While we were out on the yacht, I pulled him aside, I introduced myself, we got to talking, and I started steering the conversation toward what he did for a living. And at that moment, right there where we stood, a genuine multimillionaire revealed a multi-million-dollar piece of information. He told me he had made his money by tapping into the 5.2 billion cell phone users throughout the world by recommending products based on what they were already looking for. And because this method of marketing is still so new, there are unlimited opportunities to profit for people who get in on it quick enough. He then proceeded to show me a screenshot from his phone that completely blew my mind. From just one of his campaigns, $1 million. I asked him to forward it to me so I could look at it whenever I felt like giving up, to use as a reminder to myself that this was not only possible, but that I had met someone live and in person who was actually making it happen. We talked a bit more, and he explained the ins and outs of what he does, and how once you get things set up, you don't really have to do much else at all. The next thing he said to me forever changed my entire outlook on making money. He said, all these big gurus you're wasting your time and money listening to, and who don't actually make anywhere near what they say they do, are living in the past. You can't get rich in the present unless your strategy is based on the future. I was sold. And even though he only told me what he did and not how he did it, I went back home knowing exactly what I had to do. When I got back, I went straight downstairs to my tiny little basement office and started planning my attack. I kept going over the conversation with the millionaire in my head. He had completely opened my eyes to the reason I was failing in the first place. I was late. The reason none of the crap the gurus are shoveling ever worked for me is because they were selling me stuff that used to work. These crappy one-click softwares they are selling just automate methods that aren't even relevant anymore. They're just regurgitating the same old crap they've been selling for years and selling useless software to automate these things that don't even work anymore. It's like Hockey Hall of Famer Wayne Gretzky's coach used to say, don't follow the puck. Go where the puck is going to be. I stayed up all night that night. I was like a man possessed. I dug around every corner of the internet trying to figure out how to do what the millionaire had told me. Still astounded at the fact that the next gold rush wasn't going to be online at all. It was 2:17 a.m. when I had the big breakthrough that changed everything. First, I found a stat confirming there were really over 5.2 billion cell phones around the world. Think about that. There's only 7 billion people in the world total, and there's over 5.2 billion cell phones and rising? Next, I found an article talking about how 2/3 of Americans actually sleep with their cell phones, that they kept their mobile phones in bed with them or on the nightstand right next to the bed, and that the first thing most people do in the morning is flick on their phone to see if they got any messages. Sound kind of weird? Well, think about this for a second. How would you feel if you actually left the house without your cell phone? How would you feel if you lost your phone, dropped it in a puddle, or just left it somewhere? I asked myself that question, and I felt this surge of panic, followed by this total ecstatic joy that I cracked the code and was finally going to achieve the wealth and lifestyle my family deserved. Why? Because suddenly it became crystal clear. There is a world of mobile addicts out there just begging to give you their money. Check out this graph just for a second so you can really let the size of this opportunity sink into your mind. This phenomenon is growing at a speed no one has ever seen before, and so is the amount of money being made with it for those who have been smart enough to get in early. I realized all I had to do was figure out a way to turn a tiny percentage of the mobile phone users in the world into traffic, and I knew I'd be rich. I'd have access to fresh, virgin buyer traffic these scammy gurus couldn't touch. And I'd be first to the party, getting out ahead for once in my life and getting the lion's share of the cash, instead of nibbling at the bones and going broke in the process like I had been for years. The next couple of weeks, I spent every hour I could trying to crack this mobile thing, trying to figure out exactly how to get into the money position for this massive flood of traffic. I knew if I could just make money from a tiny percentage of the world's mobile users, I'd have more than enough traffic to solve all my financial problems forever. I mean, all I needed was to tap into 1% of 1% of the 5.2 billion mobile users, and I'd be rich. And if I was going to do it right, I knew it would have to be automated. But I'm not a tech guy, and I had no idea how to create the software I was going to need. So I hired the Darth Vader of programmers. I needed somebody who understood the backbone of the mobile internet. Somebody who was a master hacker who could crawl into the underpinnings of the mobile phone networks and give me the magic key to this traffic and change my life forever. It took me weeks to find him. I had to scour the internet, talk to shady characters on file-sharing sites, and hang out in mobile forums where I had no idea what I was talking about. But then I found the guy. I convinced my wife to give me one more shot and let me charge the down payment on her credit card. A few weeks later, he presented me with the golden goose. I felt like I was going to have a heart attack when I went to log in. This was it. I put in my new password, my screen flashed. After a tiny bit of setup, I took a deep breath and hit go at the bottom of the screen. And almost immediately, the crush of traffic started to come in. A few hundred visits in the first few minutes. An hour later, I was in the thousands. It's like I turned on the fire hose and there was nothing I could do to turn it off. I kept refreshing my browser, watching hit after hit after hit from all around the world. This wasn't Facebook, this wasn't Google, this wasn't CPA. This wasn't affiliate traffic where I'd have to pay 75% of anything I made. This was pure, unadulterated traffic from mobile phones around the world. I'd hit the mother load, and I was shocked when the money started coming in. I still remember when I took my wife downstairs to my office and showed her all the money that was streaming in. I remember the tears in her eyes, how she just melted against me, how incredible it felt to know that I was going to be able to take care of my family the way I always wanted to. The next couple of weeks were like Fantasyland. My boss kept asking me about the big smile I had on my face. He didn't know I was just counting down a few more days till I was going to be able to quit my job for good. I just needed to see one thing before I changed everything about my life. And when the big day came, for the first time ever, I was actually happy to open my credit card bill. With so much traffic and so much coming in from sales, there had to be some catch, right? The weeks went by. I checked my stats every chance I got at work, and I couldn't believe how fast the numbers were rising. Then one night, I got home to find my credit card bill. It was time to pay the piper. I knew it was going to cost me a fortune for all this traffic. Nothing in life is free, right? I could only hope that the fortune I'd been making off my secret traffic source was going to be enough to cover the nut. I could only hope that I'd have enough left over to finally quit my damn job and pay off all my debt. My wife and I opened the bill together, and we were both shocked when we ripped open the bill. It was mind-blowing. I got over 70,000 visitors for less than the cost of a few dinners out with the family. Not only that, this one little test of traffic stuffed over $13,223 directly into my bank account in less than a month. I found the holy grail. Unlimited buyer traffic for almost nothing? At the time, I thought there had to be some kind of mistake, so I called my programmer. After yelling at me for waking him up at 2 in the afternoon, he looked at my stats and at the code. It took him hours to figure it out, but he discovered he'd accidentally coded a backdoor into the software that exists in every cell phone in the world. Even though I should have been paying a ton for the traffic I was getting, this backdoor meant I was getting a massive discount, paying less than 1 cent on the dollar for the traffic. And this wasn't one of those so-called internet loopholes most of these guru types are trying to shove down your throat as some stupid marketing ploy. This was a 100% legitimate backdoor that my programmer had uncovered that turns on a waterfall of traffic with just a few clicks of the mouse. Here's the weird thing about this loophole. The cell phone companies can't stop it, or even admit it exists. If the cell phone companies actually admitted that this loophole existed, suddenly everybody would be taking advantage of it. I mean, think about it. They spent billions of dollars creating the network and the software that handles all the data transfer and phone calls for the entire world. If they actually admitted there was a huge flaw in their software that some punk hacker could exploit, they'd get sued into oblivion. So they're actually doing everything they can to cover their butts and keep anyone from finding out about this. Which means, for once, you can get there early, get a massive head start in the war for mobile traffic, and make a ton of money literally at the push of a few buttons.